Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Matt Senna with your weekly briefing. Highlights for this one seems like a broken record. Obviously, what we've been dealing with for the past month or so. Another round of moderate to heavy rain is expected to move across the area tonight through most of the day tomorrow. The flash flood threat increases tonight, mainly after midnight, although we should be seeing some rain move in before across western portions of the area. And that flash flood threat continues through most of the day tomorrow, maybe into the evening. Then we transition into the ongoing river flood threat, which we've seen fairly often over the last several weeks. We get the big rain, we get the flash flooding across the northern and parts of the central portions of the state. And then it transitions into more of a larger stream river flood threat that lasts this time at least through the weekend, if not into early next week, maybe even longer in the far south along the bigger collector rivers by the time everything gets down there. I do want to mention we do have some gusty winds in the forecast for Friday into Friday night. They're below wind advisory levels. However, with our very saturated soils, we do have to be under the be alert for some trees coming down. The good news, the rest of the forecast period through next week is mainly dry with near normal or mainly above normal temperatures. Really the weekend through the middle of next week. We do have a chance of rain moving in around Tuesday of next week, but right now it looks minor. Take a quick peek. We had an area of light to occasional moderate rain that moved across overnight. That's starting to move out. You can see the next system getting itself organized, lower Mississippi Valley. That's what will be moving up across us as we go into the overnight period tonight and through the day tomorrow. We do have a flash flood watch out beginning at 7 p.m. tonight, running through 7 p.m. tomorrow. That includes a large portion of central Georgia and most of North Georgia, if not all of North Georgia. Although we do have a little instability with this system, it's not a lot. We're very marginal. We should see some isolated thunder with this. Right now, it appears that the instability will be too low for any large scale severe weather threat. With a dynamic winter type system moving through, you always have to be a little on alert for some gusty winds with these storms, but in general, through the day today and then tomorrow, just general thunderstorms, and even that should remain isolated on the coverage. And then as we go into day 3 Saturday, everything is moved out of the area. Timing on the heavier precipitation moving in tonight. Most of our high resolution models are fairly similar in the timing. It brings the next round of heavy rain into portions of western Georgia, northern Georgia, by around 2 to 4 a.m. in the morning. We will be seeing showers, obviously, before that, off and on the rest of today and through the evening. But the heavier shot of rain moves in more in the overnight period into early tomorrow morning. By around 7 a.m., starting to make its way across, still impacting the majority of the area with widespread moderate rain and areas of heavy rain. And then really by tomorrow afternoon, all indications are the majority of the heavy rain starts shifting out. We'll still be having a lot of runoff at this point, and thus the flash flood watch rolls until about 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. we look at some of the totals we're expecting, this is 10 a.m. today through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. We see the excuse me, the initial shot of heavy rain moving in from the southwest. Really, it's concentrated the heaviest rain right up the I-85 corridor once again, although large portion of the area will be seeing quite a bit of rain. Going into the 10 a.m. Friday through 10 a.m. Saturday, the heavier rain starts shifting off to the northeast. So we look at our totals for this event, and we are looking at another potential 1.5 to 2.5 inches across North Georgia and portions of West Central Georgia, generally, as I said earlier, up the I-85 corridor. However, as saturated as soils are, even these areas along the margin that are really forecast only to receive about 1 to 1.5 inches, that's likely to be sufficient to send a lot of the smaller creeks right up to bank full or maybe even a little over. If we look at rain over the past 24 hours, the rain that came through last night added a little bit extra to the northwest. So even though this next system, the amounts are a little lower, the flash flood watch does extend up into that area because they are very saturated up there, and most of the stream flows are up pretty good. We take a look over on the right here. These are some of our river gauges. The center of the square, the color in the center of the square indicates the current condition. So we see most of our area has recovered some from the past round of rain. We do still have a few of our larger stem rivers in the south that are at flood stage. The outer portion of the square, that color indicates what the forecast is for that gauge. We're looking at quite a bit of bankful or flood stage forecasts. Obviously, this is based on the forecast precipitation. Any of these gauges in the watch area have the potential to go into flood stage. At this point, all the forecasts for flood stage are for minor flood stage, but again, we're going to have a lot of runoff with this, so we're going to need to pay very close attention through tomorrow on how these gauges are responding. If you want to keep track of the gauges in your area, if you go down to the link I have here below the gauge map, this is the AHAPS page, the river and lakes page. You can go on there, you can find the gauges in your counties, in your areas, and keep a close track on how they are responding. Take a look at any forecasts that have come out of the Southeast River Forecast Center. And even on some of the smaller streams, when we make a short-term, smaller forecast from our office here, you can see those there. I was mentioning for tomorrow, through tomorrow night, the gusty winds. We can see these are well below wind advisory criteria, but we're looking at 15 to 20, 25 mile an hour gusts, pretty widespread across the area. And as saturated as our soils are, any weak or vulnerable trees, there is a potential. We see this quite a bit when we're in these heavy rain situations. We get some pretty big trees falling without extreme winds. Talking about the good news on the horizon here, this is the 6 to 10 day outlook for the area. Obviously, doesn't mean we wouldn't have any precipitation, but the large scale pattern shifting such that the Climate Prediction Center is showing better than normal chances for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. Give us a chance to hopefully dry out here. Even going out into the 8 to 14, the next 2 weeks, we're in that same pattern. Starting to see a little bit of normal to above normal rainfall chances starting to come back in, but generally dry across our area. So to summarize, main threat right now is this next round of heavy rain. Really what we're looking at is a lot like what we've been seeing with each round of heavy rain the past couple of weeks here. You're going to see a lot of your small streams reacting very quickly, transitioning into some bank full to flood conditions on some of your more medium-sized streams, and then eventually by the weekend and into early next week, transitioning to some floodwaters on the larger scale rivers across the area. Got to keep an eye out for trees falling as we go through the day tomorrow and tomorrow night with these gusty winds. And then hopefully we end up rolling into next week generally dry with pretty pleasant temperatures.